Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Yes, welcome to our post-game reaction. Arsenal 1, Slavia Prague 1. You pays your money, you takes your pick. This has been a typical performance from the Gunners, from Arsenal. Yeah, and what Dial Square stuff. But anyway, I'm joined by Eltel, the original Godfather. Be careful, he might make you an offer you can't refuse. And I've also been joined by my brother, wearing his Arsenal top. One of 30 tops that he has, I'm sure. Guys, let's get in this one. I'm sure it's going to be a real interesting post-game reaction on this one. Yes. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Yes, post-game reaction. Arsenal 1, Slavia Prague 1. Before we get into this one, it's going to be a massacre in this one, I'm hoping. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you can receive all the latest news right here. And I can already see one person on the panel. My brother is not looking too happy. Ralph, are you okay? Okay, I'd say that as a I don't know. Eltel, how are you, mate?
I did say on our WhatsApp group that a 0-0 would be okay. It wouldn't be a disaster. And unfortunately, we've given them the away goal. So their tails are up. They know that all they've got to do is get a 0-0 draw. They have a good defensive record. We know they've beaten Leicester and Glasgow Rangers, and I'm just very surprised, although it shows you that we haven't got the right characters in the team, the right personalities, because we've very, very rarely this season conceded a goal virtually directly from a corner kick. We've had a guy in there all season working on our defending for corner kicks, and I'm afraid that only happens when you don't a massive leader, a Tony Adams type character in there. And if you like, their sort of bottle went really, and the ball came over. And once that happens, anything can happen. But it shouldn't have got to that. The ball shouldn't have. I think in about 3 minutes deep into time added on, we played a stupid ball instead of knocking it down the line. I think Gabriel tried to play it out, and then anyway, it went for a corner. And we've given ourselves a very difficult task. Now, it's not completely impossible. I have seen us do very well away from home. I think out of the 8 games we've played this season away from home in the in the Europa League, I think we've won 5 of them. So when teams come on to us, it is all possible. I certainly did see a 20% more effort from the team. But the one, can I just mention this? And if people are watching the game back, if you can bear to watch it back, 5 minutes into the second half, Partey advanced with the ball and lost it abysmally. Yeah. And what he did was he ran back, and he did eventually get the ball. But I've never seen him run that fast. So that's telling me that this guy has a top gear, and he doesn't use it. I was watching him all the way through the first half, and he stands around. It's like if you were coaching a schoolboys team, you'd be screaming at him, stop standing around and make angles, make yourself available. And I'm sure Arteta must be thinking that, why isn't he making himself available? And it's such a shame that he didn't have a great game. And it all went wrong in the last minute. But having said that, we missed some golden opportunities. People may not know, but Pepe used to be a goalkeeper. And one of the things he's known for is he's very good at one-on-ones, because this is what he said. He knows exactly what the keeper doesn't want the ball. So that wasn't a fluke. The way he flicked that over the keeper was massive skill. But Lacazette, I don't know what happened there, and Saka, there's it's not looking good, lads. But you know, there's a slender thread there that we have to score now in Prague. If it's 0-0 in Prague, then Slavia Prague go through. So it's going to be one match. And if we, interestingly enough, our previous manager at Real, Emery, his team won away 1-0 today.
1-0.
So
Yeah.
they aren't going to be stupid. And it would have been lovely to have in the semi-final. It's a tall order, but it's not possible. But you know, what can you do? This is why the highs are high and the lows are low. And as an Arsenal fan, I've had plenty of lows. I was supporting them right away from 67, and that gap between the 71 double and the win, was it in 79 against Man United in the final?
Yeah.
That was a long gap, and it looks like we're going through a similar gap now.
All right, so Ralph, are you ready to respond to us? Your thoughts? We've got all night, mate.
Yeah.
I've got to work tomorrow.
You know what? Well, I've got work tomorrow. I've been off, and it's great going back into work when your team could have won, or at least hold out for a 0-0 draw, like Eltel says. And from what I saw of the match, I still can't understand why we seem to be playing so slow or with no confidence at home. You're playing at home, and the passing, although there was a sense of urgency, it looked hurried. It looked as if instead of just playing with a bit of freedom, and Slavia Prague, they weren't any shape really, to be honest. We should have been at least 4 goals up. And I must admit, when I saw Lacazette running through, I didn't think he was going to score. He was going to score. His shape, he looked all wrong. And he was looking down at his feet. You know where you are when you've got the ball. It's only just you and the goalkeeper. You should be thinking where you're going to put it. You should be looking at your feet. And as he chipped it, it was a perfect crossbar challenge. Perfect crossbar challenge. And the goal that led to them coming back into it, as Eltel mentioned, there was no need. We're talking about game management. Gabriel got the ball, partly from Cedric, and there was a mix-up. All you had to do was just clear the line. You put the ball back down at their end. You make them come. If they come through the middle or through the channels, there were sufficient players because we had 3 subs come on at that point, and Martinelli was chasing everything. So why put yourself in danger? And look what happened. A corner. You know what? At the corner point, I knew it was a goal. I knew it was a goal. So,
well, you know what? Let me just take it back a little bit and just actually go through the starting 11. Start 11 was a Bernd Leno, was a flat back 4. Captain was a Hector Bellerin. I thought there'd been a Lacazette. And the flat back 4 was a Hector Bellerin. Centre backs were Rob Holding, Gabriel, and left back, as I thought it would be, Cedric Suarez. Then in front of those two, it was Thomas Partey paired with the returning Granit Xhaka, Eltel's favourite player. And then we've got like 3 players in front of him. We've got Emil Smith-Rowe, welcome back on the left-hand side. Willian appearing in number 10, although he didn't play in the number 10. It was like on the flanks, mostly on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, Bukayo Saka, and then the lone striker was Lacazette. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, literally, we should have been out of sight and out of mind. I think we had quite a few chances. Saka had a chance as well. They kind of skewed wide. I think Willian had a free kick that kind of clipped the post.
Yeah.
So we had enough chances, and they made some substitutions. I was thinking, right, well, they actually were gearing up. We got the 1-on-1 goal, well, the 1-on-1 with a Lacazette that Ralph said that he just kind of skewed and hit the crossbar. And then I was thinking, right, we're going to be in for it. But when you make substitutions, you want the substitutions to make an impact. And those first 2 minutes there with Aubameyang, Emil Smith-Rowe, and who was there? There's like 3 players there. They made an impact. And the first touch that Auba had, El Neni. And the first touch, the second touch that Aubameyang had, he skewed the ball wide, didn't he, with his left foot. I was thinking, right, but I think we had enough in the tank. We should have been far out of sight, Eltel. Should have been out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few things about that. First of all, the goal we did finally score, you saw Aubameyang do something he never does. He puts his body into a tricky situation and managed to squeeze the ball through and then pass through. Now, Aubameyang's famous for not having injuries because he doesn't put his feet, in tricky situations where he could get kicked or trodden on. So I think he's learned from Arteta. Either you pull it out or you're going. And the other thing I did notice, and I was really pleased with, I've got this thing about if you're going to play inverted wingers or any wingers at all, get them good on their weaker foot. Okay. And we saw that today. Willian did quite a few. I prefer to have Willian on the right-hand side where he played for Chelsea, but he played on the left-hand side and he put in 2 or 3 good crosses with his weaker foot, and Saka did exactly the same. I've never understood why we don't insist on that. I mean, us three have all played football. Lots of people listening have played football. Occasionally you're going to have to use your weaker foot, and if you're a professional, get out there on a training pitch and practice with it, and that was one really good sign that I reckon Arteta's got to them and talked about that. Emile Smith-Rowe faded a bit. They played him more in the centre of the park in the second half, but I thought he played very, very well. But unfortunately, I think we've got to take the sort of long view. I know we're all upset and it's a horrible feeling, but we've got to take the sort of long view. And the sort of long view is I don't think they're going to sack Arteta, because it'll cost them far more to sack him and then have a war chest for whichever manager comes in after. So that's the first thing. So that they aren't going to sell him because of money. But I think also he's finally realised that he's got to get any underperforming players. He did say when he came in he wanted 110%. Well, he hasn't got 110%. And Oba, at last, I don't think Oba's interested anymore. He's such a rich guy. So sell him, make some big money the way Klopp did with Coutinho, and start investing in players who are keen, who've got their whole career in front of them. So yeah, you've got to take the long view. I mean, it's possible we could pull it out of the fire in Prague. That's why we all watch football. Those things are possible. I remember when I was a young lad, we played Juve away in I think it was a semi-final of one of the European cups, and we managed to win it with the Paul Vasson scoring with a header right at the end, and we went through to the final. So these things can happen. You can be kind of out and finished and it's all over, and then suddenly, if you show the right attitude, you can do well. I thought that they were very wary of us, and when we got on the front foot, we looked pretty good, and all we lacked was that little bit of luck, that finishing. I did watch. I don't know if you guys watched it when Lacazette missed that chance. He actually showed a picture of him from behind the goal, and when he hit it, he was full sure the ball was going in, and he stood and he had his arms going up as if to celebrate it, and then he couldn't believe it when it hit the corner of the bar and the post. So these things happen, and it's all in the waft and web of being a football fan. What I will say is that we've got a chance. It's 1-1. If we draw away 0-0, then it's all over. They're through. But it's all to play for, and we are a far better counter-attacking team than we are trying to thread the ball through the eye of a needle. We may have Ødegaard back for that. And Cedric played well. They didn't really challenge him down that corner, but there's a lot of work to be done, and maybe we've topped out this season, but we live to fight one more day.
Mm-hmm. Could we really say there was a man of the match for Arsenal, Ralph? No. I thought Holding played quite well in the first half. I like the way that he was bringing the ball.
Yeah, Holding was as he. It's funny when Holding plays in some of these top level games, as it were, it seems to bring the best out in him. Any other matches, any other Premier League match, he always seems to be wanting, as it were. But Holding, I think Saka, although Saka had a couple of he had a definite chance in the first half. He was himself, and he brought again more. It's like what was missing. That was it. You can see him and Emma Smith Rowe as well. That link between the two of them. Willian, I mean, I not normally would say that, but Willian was, he was a, he was okay. He should be blowing towards the end when he got subbed off. But I'm just underwhelmed, and the main reason for that is because Slavia Prague have, they're unbeaten at home. I know Terry is very, very optimistic, and we never come across us as it were. They come across Rangers and Leicester, and Leicester is better than us at this moment in time. So if they can't find a way in, and the way that we let the game disappear, I'm not on about the last minute. I'm on about throughout the match when we couldn't put them away. If we was at least 3 goals up and they scored one, okay, we only have to score maybe 1 goal away, and the tie effectively they'd be chasing the game. I think we're good when the opposition is chasing, because it leaves gaps open and then we can exploit them because we've got fast players when they're on song. So these things can happen. We take it on the chin as we always do, but I think the players now are thinking, actually, did my performance warrant me playing for the club? Is Arteta going to put me on loan or sell me? Only Arteta can come up with that conclusion. We're going to speculate as we do when it comes up to the summer, but I think a lot of those players now have been looking at themselves and thinking this could have been the one chance when they could have actually put the game to bed, at least first half, and they come short.
But surely you must be optimistic, Ralph, because we had a hatful of chances. So at least we were creating chance, but we just couldn't stick the ball in the net. So going away from home, surely you must feel like we've got an opportunity because we create chances. Yeah.
You can create chances. That's the game. You create chances, but on percentage, how many times have we won when we created chances? The percentages are very low. We create chances all day long, but we don't have a gilt-edged striker to put those chances away. You've seen that tonight. You've seen that best part of the season. Now, when we played against Benfica, that was a very tough match, but we took it to them. We knew we had to win that game, and we won the game in the first leg. So, are we going to be able to repeat that against a much tougher side who haven't lost at home? We had chances all tonight. We had chances all this season. We've had chances. It was ands, buts, and maybes, like you would say. But at the end of the day, this is where we are.
Tel, was there a man of match for you? Can we have a man of the match even with Drew?
It's difficult.
Silence.
I thought Emil Smith Rowe did well in the first half. I thought Willian had his best game for us.
We were optimistic.
Very good.
We were
game.
optimistic.
So Cedric for a right foot back did well. I was disappointed in Partey because I know he can run faster. He can make himself available, and I bet Arteta takes him aside and says, "Look, I paid a lot of money for you, and you're standing around, and I've seen you sprint, and I know you can sprint. Make yourself available. Look at the passing angles." He may have said that to him at some point, but he wasn't doing it. So, man of the match, it's hard to see from our point of view who was our best player. I mean, Laka did put in a shift, but my son went to play over at the place just off the North Circular for his team yesterday, and because all the football places are back now, which is some friends of mine in Ireland were quite surprised. And I went with a mask on and kept back from everybody. and I watched some cracking football. All these lads are about 26, 27, 28. Good guys, you know, and some cracking goals. And I'm thinking, Laka is a professional. These guys have got other jobs, you know, and he's bearing down one-on-one on a goalkeeper. Now, you know, don't miss it, man. You know, Ian Wright wouldn't have missed it. And when you think about it, we've had Saka miss one, which he shouldn't do, but he's young. We've had Oba miss one. He didn't even get it on target. And then, so with all our forwards really have missed golden chances. And in this football, you can't do that. You've got to get at least two out of the three. And as I say, I don't know what he's got. You know, if you go on the Arsenal website, you see him doing these tick-a-tacker games and roundels, whatever they call it. But they ought to get a little bit of finishing practice in and get it, you know, get these one-on-ones. We had enough chances, you know. So man of the match is, I don't know. It'd be interesting to, who else did we have out there? Defenders, I thought, you know, some of our captains for the night played pretty well, Bellerin. I still don't rate Leno. I'm afraid there's something wrong there. So man of the match, I'm not going to say William, but it was close. He did very well.
Oh, dearie me. Let's go into the live chat for the first time this evening. Remember, guys, the only people you're going to see in the live chat are paid up members. Regular subscribers are not able to access the live chat because I've disabled that. That was the original idea, that on Thursday nights or Thursdays, the live chat will be only dominated by and used by the paid up members. So I'm only going to see paid up members talking amongst themselves there. Connor Young says, we are just giving them away. Yeah, games, Leeds players. The only thing Arsenal is selling us is a new Adidas kit. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tel, what was the last time you bought an Arsenal jersey, Tel? When was the last time you bought one?
Well, my son bought the sort of recent one, and he always buys the player fit ones. I wish I had a figure like his. He's got a skin tight one, which he was in last night. But the last one, I don't know, I suppose about 3 or 4 years ago. But I haven't got that many, maybe 4 or 5 kits. But I refuse to do, you know, continually. There used to be a guy, people might be interested to know. And what he did was he had the home kit, the red and white, and he had the away kit, the sort of blue and yellow, and he cut both down the middle and sewed them up. And he had a long pony, like petite, and you'd often see him around the Arsenal, or, you know, or Wembley, and so he had a half and half kit, you know. But it's just a massive rip-off, you know. And I really do like the pillar box red, which is what Raz is wearing there. And I don't like this business of going to this dark burgundy sort of. I know that is what Arsenal started off wearing, but the reason they did that was when you used to wash clothes in those days, they used to go lighter and lighter in colour, so they ended up a reddish colour. You know, they call it red currant, don't they? But you know, let's get back to the pillar box red. Let's get back to the red with white sleeves and be sensible. Of course, we can't because what's his name? Kroenke is all about money. And I remember actually in an Arsenal programme, it must have been in the 70s sometime, somebody had written in and complained that we changed the kits, you know, too often. And Arsenal guaranteed that they wouldn't change it more than once in every 2 or 3 seasons. I can remember that, you know, and I'm thinking even that's too much. Now we've got 3 kits every single season. Now, the 3rd kit, which used to be a dark blue, we only played in that once in the blue, and that was never available to buy. But this is pure just greed to, because if you've got, you know, a young kid who wants the kit, of course you're going to buy it for him, you know. But I mean, all my mates have got Arsenal kits, but I don't see them buying them every year. So I think any of the fans that have been around a bit are just saying that that's a massive waste of money.
Ralph, what about yourself? How many jerseys have you got? Quite a few.
I've got quite a few, but I didn't buy them. They were presents. They were, so I was quite lucky. To
I
be
know.
honest, you even got me one top. You even got me one top that day when we played against Chelsea.
I got
It
you two
was
tops. I got you two.
you got me two tops. Oh, you
Yeah,
got
the
two
one.
tops. Yeah, you actually
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
the
Thank you.
yellow
Yeah,
away kit as well.
that's right.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. You know, I'm allowed to slip now and again. But yeah, I like I said, my very first kit was the red and white, and it's the long sleeve. And our mum, what she did, because obviously I played in it just about every day, she washed it, and the red stuff coming off and it's going onto the sleeves, and I was like, no, it's my first kit. And then the second kit, as you know, my second was the Leeds United kit, the all white kit, which I paid for. But yeah, like Alex and I did say previously that we always felt that there should be just two kits. There should be, you know, the red and white kit for home, and then the yellow and blue kit, because the yellow and blue kit I remember is the 1971 FA Cup final. Charlie George scoring a Mavs goal against Liverpool. That's the away kit. And then if you're gonna, I don't know why we have blue. Where I got one blue with yellow piping and the red little bit on the chest there. That was at 2003, I think it was. 2003, 2004. And then started going all kinds of, you know, I would have liked to have got that bruised banana one, because that's an iconic kit. They did that not last season, season before last, I think. Yeah, I think it was season before last. They did almost replica one of the bruised banana, but it's never the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think three kits is enough. And when you think about the amount that it costs as well, it is expensive. It's a money spinner. There's no doubt about it. It's a money spinner. If your kid wants a kit because you want to be seen to be keeping up with the trend, as it were, it's very expensive.
Right, let me quickly run through these last comments here again, just by the members. Colin Young says Pepe and Martinelli were called to start by just about every Arsenal fan in the universe, well, Arsenal universe, but Arteta would rather the. Fake Shack says, I'm so off. We always do this to ourselves all the time. We had so many opportunities to bang it in. Pepe comes on and props from him for scoring, and then yeah, just giving it all away. He goes on to say, we've been declining faster and faster for the last 10 years, and it's really getting to me. I'm having doubts if we're going to win the next leg. Yeah. We will have no bottle our mistakes, but we always do. That's Arsenal. That's the Arsenal way. All right. He also goes on to say that also, why play William instead of Martinelli at the start? Honestly, I don't know if Arteta is just not recognizing how beneficial Martinelli is. I mean, LTL, I think he came
well,
on
listen,
with...
I've
yeah,
got
go on,
a theory.
Charles.
I have seen Arteta say that the reason he's holding Martin back is he wants to redesign the way to play. We'll have different players around him. So I suspect he's going to be our next centre forward. And I suspect he wants to build a different style of attack. And that's why he's not been bringing him on. And when he did bring him on, he brought him in on the left wing, didn't he? And I think he's much better if he's running down the middle, which he didn't want to do. And he brought Oba on there, but Oba missed a sitter. So I think he's holding him back. He's worried about him getting injured, and he's holding him back because he's almost like the last card, isn't he? If Martinelli gets crocked, then there's nowhere to go, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Colin Young says, call it whatever you like, but it is not a coincidence. Barring the first game of the season and a single moment, nothing good happens when, the W-man starts. Better wrong? Anybody care to think why this guy gets a start? That Bellerin played? Why did he got the captain's armband as well, didn't he?
I think maybe we just Arteta heard you last time about saying that Aubameyang shouldn't be captain. So he's run out of ideas. He thought, well, I know what, I can't give it to Xhaka. but that'll cause so much aggro. So I'll give it to Bellerin, and hopefully that might just go under the radar. But that's the thing when I said about being a captain. You need to be vocal. You need to be, pushing your players, encouraging your players, directing, talking to your goalkeeper. You're the second voice from your manager. And I didn't see much of that from Bellerin. But to me, Bellerin was just concentrating on his flank and keeping up with play. There didn't seem to be or appear to be any kind of communication other than making sure he throws in properly. I didn't notice if he did any foul throws, but it was very muted. It was very muted from my. I may be wrong, but from what I was looking, I always tend to look at the defense. I always look at the way that we're shaped up. And you can see when the ball's played up in the air, it's like nobody knows who's going to go in for the challenge. And when it came out flat from the goalkeeper, I was on my edge because I was thinking there was two Slavia Prague strikers on either side of the box. And when you play that kind of ball, you got to play it quick and with position. And Leno got away with it on a few occasions, but it was always that kind of potentially could go wrong moment. But for Bellerin being captain, to me, I think he had his time. It's not enough. Partey could have been captain. To be honest, that might have made him run a bit more and keep play.
I don't think so. All right, let's go through this last few comments before I wrap up this one. I really feel gutted to never have seen Arsenal win the league, in my lifetime. I know one when I was 2, when they were the Invincibles, but I've seen them win. I've seen them win the league directly.
I can answer. I've seen Arsenal do well, thank God, and they've won Champions Leagues and so on. But what I have noticed is every time we've won the league, around about November time, when we're kind of second, third, or first, you notice that the players suddenly put in another 20% because they're not just playing for money; they're playing for the glory of winning the league. And I remember back in '71, I remember walking along with my dad in Finsbury Park, and we were both saying that suddenly in November, the kind of commitment level of Arsenal went up. And all the teams we've had under George Graham subsequently and Wenger, when they're close to getting some silverware, you suddenly notice everything goes up. So even last season, we weren't expected to win the FA Cup semi-final or the final, but once they get within a match or two of winning something, suddenly the team that could have come out before suddenly does. And we didn't fluke the semi-final win, and we didn't fluke the win in the final. But what we saw today was a team that weren't working as hard as that, although they were better than they were against on Saturday. But so it will, please God, happen again, talking to Fake Shack there. But it will take a different mentality. And I do draw your attention to what Freddie said. Freddie Lundberg said, you've got a whole dressing room full of players that aren't interested. And he's got rid of some of them, but we've still got them there. And I'm afraid if I'd have paid the big money that we've paid for some of those players, especially Partey, I was so disappointed because I saw him charging after the ball after he kind of lost it, and suddenly the guy had real pace on him, and I'm thinking most of the match you're strolling around. Why? Somebody's got to get to him and find a way of getting him, maybe show him that piece of footage. They can do things now where they can check what speed you're actually running at and say to him, look, we've just seen you running at 25 miles an hour. Why aren't you doing that all the time? But these guys are rich, and I don't know. Listen, what I would say to people is it's only half time. We've just blown a good chance of going in 1-0 up at half time. But, when teams are playing away now, it's not like the old days of doing massive travelling. They just go to Luton or Stansted. They hop on a jet. They're over there in Prague, and there's no fans in the ground, so it's the same as being in any ground really. And it's half time, and we were at least a sort of measure of them. You know, they certainly didn't wipe the floor with us. So guys, come on, if you put effort into this, you could be in a semi-final. It's looking like we might meet Emery again, but go for it. Because, and of course, this is, I don't know whether it's worth saying this if I was a Teta, but I would be tempted to say, because if we don't, then I have to reconsider who's going to be here in September. Now, it may be that some of them don't even care, but that's your final card, isn't it, to lay? That if you're not going to get out there and die for Arsenal, then you can go elsewhere.
Dear. All right, let's just go through this last few ones here. Fake Shack. Go on, if you want to say something.
I was just going to add quickly the point what Terry said. When a fan who is very young and hasn't seen Arsenal win a Premiership, the FA Cup is like a once in the blue moon kind of thing, although we won it 14 times. But the Premiership is the golden chalice, as it were, because you've gone the whole season and you've fought everyone. So to not see that, not to have that kind of parade and be part of that, I kind of sympathise. You know what I mean? Also, I think the other kind of like wake up call for these players is the fact that if you're not seizing the chance of, you know, trying to get the team to go to the quarterfinals, there's no real guarantee that whichever team that you join would have that same opportunity. You know what I mean? There's no real guarantee that you know, this is the best chance, the best opportunity for those players to push themselves a bit further forward. And I'm not going to say that they're watching this program or this channel. They probably do watch blogs and get a lot of reaction on social media. But if I was a player and I was sat down after a performance like that, I'll look at myself and think, you know, how can I get into my manager that I deserve to be on that spot, and to show the competition that they have to fight through tooth and nail to get my spot. You know what I mean? So it means a lot for us, for fans, but you'd think that the same kind of mentality would be for the players, and that's where the gap is. That's where the gap is. I just hope that they don't have the regrets. Many players do have regrets. I think some of the good players, when they have had good careers, they can look back and say, you know what, actually, I'm really glad I had the opportunity to play for that club, win the trophies, have the fans on my back chanting my name, and I've left a legacy. I feel that for some of those players who don't understand that, there's going to be a deep regret that they didn't do it when they've had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, well said, well said. All right, just this last few comments here. Fake Shack goes to say, ignore my grammar in the past statements. I'm generally disappointed in Arsenal now. Laughter. Then Koyang says, and Bellerin runs around shouting, I don't know, because he he's offering them a new contract. They'll tell, I'm clueless. You can't make this up.
Look, do you know what people have got to think back to? Do you remember the final against Manchester United in '79, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we were 2-0 up, and 5 minutes to go, the 5-minute final. And suddenly, Man United scored 2 goals. 2 errors by the Arsenal defence, goals by Man United. But we came back. And right at the end, Liam Brady got the ball, knocked it wide to Rixie, and my old mate Alan Sunderland knocked it in at the far post. So look back to that. We've had something similar tonight. We were in the driving seat, looking fairly safe, although we're missing goal after goal after goal, but we finally got the goal. And suddenly, now it's half time and it's 1-1. But come back, Arsenal, because this team are going to come out at you, and you've already proved that you can open them up because you're working your inverted wingers and they're using their weaker foot. Suddenly, we're creating chances can I just say one other thing? We've got no plan B. Why haven't we got a 6'2" or 6'3" centre forward? You've got these crosses raining in, you know. Why haven't we said, you know what? Let's go and buy somebody who's pretty skillful but can nod the ball in and just keep peppering them. I remember us doing that back in the 80s and 90s, and you'd always have you'd have Alan Smith and different people around, you know. We've got nobody at all. And the number of crosses that came in and nobody was big and strong and getting up there and causing trouble. Plan B.
But tell in 1979, the FA Cup final, who was the captain for Arsenal? Was it not? Was it Pat Rice? Was it Pat Rice?
Yeah, it was Rice. Yeah. It was.
So at least we had characters back then who were willing to fight for the badge. These current players, they couldn't give a toss. They don't really care. And it's kind of strange that, you know, they played on Saturday against Liverpool. Well, actually, they didn't even turn up, but they kind of upped the gear just a little bit against Slavia Prague tonight. So what that tells me is that they're picking and choosing when to turn up and when not to turn up. Is that player power? Is that player power, Till?
That's player power. Absolutely. They suddenly decided tonight, we are going to turn up. Willian turned up and was pinging them some nice crosses, and that's player power. And Arteta, if he can't somehow squeeze, well, I mean, if we don't score out there, it's all over. If it's a 0-0 draw, it might be, then it's all over. But if we score one, then suddenly we're in the sort of driving seat again, because we've got an away goal and they've got an away goal. But look, you know, you have to cling on to hope. So I know people are all feeling fed up, and I'm feeling fed up, but we've been in this position many times. You know, when we won the Cup Winners' Cup and Ian Wright knew he wasn't going to be playing the final when we were against Paris Saint-Germain. Do you remember when we won that against Parma, and we knew our top forward was suspended, and Ian was in the dressing room at half-time crying, and George Graham was having none of it. He said, we're in the middle of a semi-final here. Shut up, get out there, play, and we'll see what happens in the final. So you've got to have that kind of bulldog spirit there. You've got to keep going, and don't think it's all over. It's not all over. We've shot ourselves in the foot, and it was a funny game. Sometimes the gods aren't with you. We missed 3 golden chances, and for a team who this season has very rarely let in a goal at set pieces, we managed to lose our battle and let the goal in right at the end. But it's not over. We aren't losing. It's still 1-1, and we've won 5 out of the 8 games in Europe this season away from home. So there's still hope, but we've got to have our shooting boots on. If we get 3 chances in the next game, which we might do, we have to bury all 3. And if we do that, we've got a good chance of going through it.
Yeah. Well, Colin says finally, it sure is not manager power. Player power, not manager power. Ralph, very quickly, you know, what happens if Arsenal do win the Europa League? Are you still wanting certain players to be shown the door, or what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Sorry, we've gone with mediocre for too long. And those players, they know that as well. And if we don't, worst case scenario, I'm not being pessimistic, but worst case scenario, because you have to plan these things. We don't go through. Could be VAR, could be the referee, could be anything. Could be the way that the gods may not walk with us on the second leg. You know what I mean? So then you're looking at which players that you can put your faith in that will start fighting for not just to be happy in mid-table, but to challenge for the Premiership. And if you don't have your 11, then come the summer, you have to plan to make sure you have an 11 by the start of that season. There's no excuses now. There's players that shown you throughout the whole season what they are. And if they're cherry picking certain matches, and you know that in your gut, then you have to get them out. And it may sound a bit harsh, it may sound a bit unfair, but we can't be carrying passengers. We carried a few passengers, and all they've done is held the club to ransom. If we're going to be acting like a big club, then this is the time when the manager has to step into his own now. He knows his 11, he knows his maybes, and he knows who's got to go. No exceptions.
Okay. Didn't know this. Colin, not given the last comment. Go through the roster. You'll be blown away. 17 of the 25 are Arteta's players. This is Arteta's team. We are getting fooled, Terry.
Well, do you know what? We said in the match against Liverpool, you could see he was fighting back tears. And I thought he was going to start tonight. I thought, blood, sweat, and tears here, lads. He could be thinking that. I would be, with the money he's paid for Partey, and he was very average tonight. He wasn't putting himself around, and absolutely, a lot of them are Arteta's players, and they are doing it for him, and it's a very bitter lesson to learn. And unfortunately, we're his first club that he's managed, and he's having to learn the lesson as he goes along. But I don't think we'll sack him. I think he'll be with us next season. I think if we don't go through into the next round of this, if we fail in Prague, he'll start blooding youngsters, and then they will sell like mad. Do a big selling spree, then they've got to get young players that are thirsty and want to succeed. Everything in life, we've seen it in education. If you've got kids who want to do well, then they're easy to sort of work with because they've got that motivation. But got them thinking, I don't know, that they just want to get through to the end of the school day. Then either you can pick them up, which good teachers can do, and get them enthusiastic and make them believe in themselves. But as Freddie said, some of these people are too long in the tooth, and nothing you can say is going to sort of lift them. They're too rich. They're absolutely loaded, and I think we've seen tonight that it's the young players are our future. And some of the older players, if they can be motivated, which Willian was tonight, he seemed to be so much better. Then that's good. That's good. But at the end of the day, you won't win anything unless you can get every single player working at 110%.
Okay, so we finished on this one. That's a post-game reaction. A bit of a late one over here, UK time. It's a 5 to 11. I'm sure it's the same time in Wales as well, isn't it, Ralph? I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry. What?
No, I said it's about 7 minutes to if my clock is exact. Same time all around the UK.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph. Thank you. It must be my clock over here then. Listen, guys, thank you for joining us. Like I said, we're getting back to the usual patter of Thursday evening shows. The live chat will be disabled to subscribers, but it will be open to paid up members. I think they deserve that priority there, that privilege, the two P's. Yeah, privilege and priority there. So yeah, on the evening where we left the Emirates, we left at home playing the Emirates. Yeah, by the skin of my teeth, 1-1 against Slavia Prague. So in a week's time, let's see what it brings. I won't give you a prediction now. But what I am going to say is, Eltel, always a pleasure to have you back on Cannon 40 TV, matey.
Thank you. Nice to see the two brothers there. Lovely.
Nice one, Eltel. And of course, Raz. Yeah, Ralph. Yeah, so you're back at work tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe I may be off Sunday, so a potential we could have a Sunday catch up. I'll double check with you later on.
Brilliant. So those who are watching now, or maybe a later time, was probably on repeat or rewind. Say again.
No, I said we've got a match Sunday, haven't we? We've got Sheffield.
We have. But the next time they'll see my ugly boat race will be tomorrow morning. Yeah, 11 a.m. You're not getting rid of me that quickly. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow morning giving some more live news, and maybe I was kind of catching up on some of bits and pieces that we might have missed them tonight. But to my contributors, my guests, Eltel, the original Godfather, didn't make us an offer that we would not refuse. I'm a little bit fearful. And of course, to my brother Ralph. Those of you tuning in for the first time, make sure it's not the last time. And if by chance you've been wondering who or what you've been listening to, you've been listening to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.